Alrighty, we are back with your Duel Inc. Grand Finals. We have two teams that have made it here. These matches are gonna be really amazing, I can tell.
Yeah, it will be amazing here, Matt. Waiting here to start. Of course, Clam Blitz on Starfish main stage. Yeah, we're gonna see this back. You know, we kind of got teased there that we were gonna have this match after a little break. We finally are gonna see it.
Alrighty, and we're gonna be moving on to our first match of your Duel Inc. 69 Finals. Clam Blitz Starfish main stage. Alrighty, we do see two comps that I wasn't even expecting. We have the Splash and Tri-Slash on the side of Phasmophobia, and on the side of Rui we do see a Knot in the Zap. The same thing that they actually did run during semifinals, as we already do see an armor on the side of Rui, as now it's time for them to move in. Leafy going in, getting the kill. Can he get the kill on Wasp? Wasp is going to be going down to the Tri-Slosher, as our Tri-Slosher is not going to be collecting those clams up. As now, I believe, are we going to see a throw? We are going to see a throw, and Wasp and the ends up are going to be taking out the Tri, as now it's just that Splash, as they do get the trade off with the Zap, as now it's just not alive.
All right, here we go. Wasps, of course, being crops, and Villy, who's on the end zap as the numbers. They are gonna try to respond here, but the burst bomb from afar. Q able to get a
We do see
double.
that double from the Tri-Slosher, as now they're going to be collecting up as many clams as they can, trying to get back into that early push. They have a lot at their disposal, and we do see that the super did miss, and now the Tri-Slosher does have to run away and let that super go out.
Oh, Leafy, you're better than that. You know where you gotta throw that from. They tried to throw it like a regular clam, because you can throw a regular clam just kind of right off the top. So Leafy threw it early instead of kind of letting themselves get a little bit further distant and closer to the basket off the top. They threw it early. So that was a little bit of muscle memory from throwing little clams from that top area. Of course, they're usually a Nautilus on in most times in 4v4 situations. So they're used to being up and throwing little clams from that, but not necessarily maybe coming in with the power. So throwing them off, but they still end up scoring 40 points here on the push, getting, of course, the two power clams in that they had ready. Leaf are going to be trying to get a pick, and they do manage to do so with the burst bombs, but in the end, the ends up Villy is going to take a kill as well, and we're going to have a kind of 1v1 situation in mid.
Alright, looks like we do have that try against the Zap, as now it's time for Rui to really rush in. They gotta rush in now, as half of the match period is over, as it's now going to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds in. Those bombs are coming in, the ink arm is coming in. The try, almost going for the flank, but they're not going to be doing that, as the Knot's going to get hit by Leafy, as there comes that baller, the armor for Phasmophobia. As now Wasp with that baller exploding, not getting anyone, but do painting up the area a little bit, as now the Tri-Slash is moving in. The not getting the kill on the Splash, as now it's time for Rui to throw in that Super Clam. That's what they're going to be doing, as they're going to be throwing in that Super Clam. And there comes their first push.
Getting a solid amount of push or points in, getting a nine extra points. Of course, coming from 3 small clams from Villy, dancing around and getting more. There comes the splash off the top rope, able to get the pick. But lots of clams here for Villy to pick up and try to put in the basket. If they can get the ends up, that's maybe another 12 points, but they're not going to get the ends up into or the Tri-Slosher in time.
So they're going to have to back out from there, as we do see the Tri taking out the Zap. As now it's time for Tri to collect all those clams at mid. We do actually see the Nautilus backing out a little bit. They do know where that Knot is. It's just sitting on that side. And there goes that try. And now it's down to the Splash versus the try. As now the Tri has to fight off both. The Knot has to fight off both of them. And it's going to be a wipe on the side of it's going to be a wipe on the side of no, on the side of Phasmophobia. As they're going to be moving in. They do have what they need to take the lead. There comes that baller. down to 61 on the side of Rui. As now it's time for them to move in, but they can't, as it looks like they're going to be going down to Leafy. And that's going to be the game. That's going to be that push as the last 40 seconds are going to be coming in. We are seeing a very close match this first game. Last 30 seconds, here comes that bomb rush from the Splash. As now, I feel like they're going to be trying to push in one final time to get in some extra points. That's what they're going to be doing. As now they're going to be throwing in another super. As now Leaf's going to be fighting off that knot, but they're not getting the splat. The knot can it get the double kill? It's not. But the zap is last on the map. Last 10 seconds. It's time for them to push in. They can take lead. They have the clams that they need. They have plenty of clams that they need. And we could see a comeback from Rui. As now it's time for both those super clams to come in. But we don't know how much time they really have on that overtime. As now it looks like Leafy's getting hit pretty hard. As now it's time for that ink arm to come in. They really have to rush now. Or else it's going to be over. Leafy going down. As the chart's going down, it's not a zap on the board. But no! It's not enough time.
Yes, they ran out of time. Only 20 seconds of overtime. Of course, Villy not able to get there in time with the power clam. So this game ends up going to Leafy and Q of Phasmophobia. Of course, this is a best-of-5 set. So just being down one game, not the end of the world. You know, you're not really feeling the pressure yet. You, of course, are not going to have yourself the home field advantage in the counter pick system. But you only have to overcome one choice from your opponent. But nonetheless, what matters most here is getting some momentum, and Rui Bad will get themselves an opportunity to pick the first map mode in this set. So, or sorry, the second one, but the first counter pick. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like Muscle Forge being picked again, as we saw how much they destroyed their opponents on in the last set.
And we are going to be waiting a little bit for our counter pick from Rui. And yeah, I feel like those two teams, they showed off great potential. As now we're just going to be waiting for that counter pick to come in. I feel like Rui still does have a chance to take it back, since this is the best out of 5 bracket. But yeah, let's wait for a counter pick.
We got it in.
Actually,
they went with splat zones on Muscle Forge.
Yeah,
they were gonna go Wahoo for a second, and then they went, no, we want Muscle Forge. They're like, well, we destroyed on that. Why would we not play it again? And facing a pretty similar comp from potentially from Leafy and Q, I'm pretty sure they're gonna play a very similar thing to what their opponents in the last set did. I would not be surprised whatsoever if Leafy bring out the Nos. I would not be surprised if Q continues something like the Tri-Slosher. So, you know, it would be a pretty similar matchup, actually, to what they had in the last time. So I think this is actually probably the perfect choice, potentially, for Crops and Billy to go with.
Alrighty, here we go. Our second match of your finals. Muscle Fork Fitness Splat Zones. Phasmophobia is up 1. Rui really has to take this back, as we do see Nautilus is on both sides. As well, we do see a V Nautilus on Rui, and we do see that 79 on the side of Phasmophobia. And so we have a pretty equal battle, but it looks like Rui could take that zone. That's what they're going to be doing.
Absolutely, I just called it what they were going to both play. So, you know, I think Villy and Crops also knew, because this is pretty much the classic choices for both of these players that they're facing against. So they think they can beat them with the weaponry that they were going to pick. But right now, they're going to get wiped. So Leafy and Q are going to go ahead and take this lead after a few seconds. Going to go ahead and go for the paint and maybe try to lock out the same way that Crops and Villy did in the first Muscle Forge when they're facing a different opponent. But Q smartly going to jump out here, going to face a 2v1 situation. But Leafy has some prey in sight, and they manage to take him out.
Already down into the 50s on the side of Phasmophobia, but there goes that Nod. The Nod did a really good job. But I feel like it does have that time to respawn, as it looks like the Zap's going to be moving in. Leafy jumping back into the game, as now could we see an armor pop just right as Leafy dies, but we do see Wasp going down that burst bomb, but that's going to be a zone take for Rui.
Yeah, we do see we do see that Villy gets the win here in the end, being the only person alive. Levy coming out though with Inkjet trying to put pressure on Villy, and of course the respawning Crops as well. Down to 50 points remaining. Armor is also ready on the other side. Actually, Armor ready on both sides now, and Inkjet or Baller ready for Crops. So lots of special going to come out here in this 3-minute mark approximately, and here they come. Armor on both sides, Baller out there, Leafy able to pressure Crops back, but what matters most is the timer is ticking down to just 15 remaining. Villy here can just need to focus on painting the zone if they can hold the zone here, especially if they can kill Q. If they kill Q here, I would say it's probably game. They do manage to push Q back and hold the zone, but there's still an opportunity with both Q and oh no, it's just Q.
Down, and that's going to be the game. That's going to be the game for Rui.
Good counterpick choice here by Rui Bad. They understood, hey, we did really well in this last one. Of course, I think they end up facing opponents that played a little bit better into the map as well. Of course, Leafy having Nautilus, as I expected, in Q on Tri-Slosher. Plays a little bit better than the Shot, and I believe was Machine last time. It was the last set. So that those two weaponry that from Leafy and Q play into the map a little bit more. I think that's why it was a lot more of a competitive match. But nonetheless, Villy and Crops knew what they were doing on this one. And now we get to wait for a counter pick from Leafy and Q.
That match, I feel like Rui does have a chance though to bring that back after I just saw their potential in that last match. But we already do have our counter pick. We're still going with Splat Zones. As now we're going to be moving on Splat Zones Wahoo World.
Well, I mean, hey, they saw that Villy and Crops were on it, like, well, you know what? We like that one too. We wish you would have picked it. Now we're going to pick it, and we're going to go ahead and beat you on it, and go ahead and take a 2-1 lead is what they're trying to do, at least anyways. And I think that this map plays into both of the teams very well. Leafy going to go ahead and probably stick with the Nautilus. Q going to go back and stay with the Tri-Slosher. Of course, Villy and Crops have not changed the entire time that we have seen them. So expect the same thing from them. They know what they want in this one. But I would totally expect here to see Leafy go ahead and stay with the Nautilus. Yes. Oh, we see the 96 from Q. That's right. I forgot they changed it for the last time we saw Wahoo, using that range advantage now that they're going to have. And they're going to try to put pressure on Crops and Villy as much as they can.
As now it's time for both teams to really head into that zone. As we do see a take from Phasmophobia. But we don't know. Can Rui take the game? We do see that Inkjet coming in the double kill from that Inkjet.
Leafy with some fantastic shots. Gonna go ahead and try to build another inkjet. They should really try to get on the other side and paint, honestly, in my opinion. Leave that paint back there for themselves. And look at this. Look how close they are to another inkjet. Armor is ready from the 96. They have all specials ready across all 4 players. Here comes inkjet number 1. Armor out from the other side. No armor yet from Q on. There it comes, right as I say that. And look at that snipe by Leafy. And they live because of Q's armor.
As now we do see that Baller coming in from Wasps. They're not actually going to be really exploding it right on the zone, trying to get the knot out of the way, but no. Could we see a win?
Look at the fall-off attempt by Leafy. They went for it. They didn't get it, but I think this game's over. It's a 2v1 situation. This is GG's here. And just add a little bit of cherry on top for Leafy. They get one more kill on Crops at the end, just to add to the fun. And wow, that was a complete domination by Phasmophobia. They knew they liked this one more, apparently, than Villy and Crops did. You know, as much as they almost picked it, it just showed that Leaf and Q liked this one a lot more. It was a good thing for Rui Bad that they didn't pick that map mode. And now, Villy and Crops are going to have to think about their choice here. Are we going to stick with Splat Zones for, what, is that a 3rd consecutive game of Splat Zones, I believe? Because we started off on...
Zones games, I believe.
No, we didn't. We had Clam Blitz. Clam Blitz
We had
Starfish.
Clam Blitz to start. So we've been in Splat Zones for the past 2 games. Can we see a switch up though?
I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, all teams are comfortable usually with splat zones. You really just want to go with a different mode, in my opinion. Go with the mode you're most comfortable with outside of splat zones. It adds a lot more fun to the entire thing here. You don't want to keep going back to splat zones. You throw in Clam Blitz, throw in TC. I almost said throw in Rainmaker because I love Rainmaker, but Rainmaker is not an option here. Of course, this is a best of 5 here for our grand final, so we are not quite done yet. Even though we are 2-1, we are going to have one more match. We're just waiting on that counter pick. Don't forget to stay hydrated, folks. I just hydrated right now.
Too.
Hey, Pika, did you hydrate yet?
Pika's in BC now.
Yeah, I know.
They were doing something in the back. They were doing something in the back while we were commentating. They were doing some sneaky work.
BC Inkblot is going to be the counter pick here, getting the word from Villy. You saw what they did on that one. They have KO'd on this one as well. So they're definitely picking maps we've already seen them do very well on. So it is no surprise here that Philly and Crops are going to go with something they're very comfortable with. And both teams ready basically immediately. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of changes on the comp side of things. So here we go. Tower Control, Inkblot Art Academy. Potential match point for Duel Links 69. Leafy and Q sticking with what worked last game. And we're going to see the same thing from Villy and Crops as well, Matt.
We do see actually same comps that they did show off during Tower Control. But now it's really time to see who's the better Knot as Leafy taking out Q. As now it's time, we do see a little one-on-one showdown with the Knot and the Zap. As now it looks like Phasmophobia going to be taking that tower first. Not exactly getting it to that checkpoint. There comes that Inkjet coming in. And we do see that Zap being taken out by the Jet and the Gal. As now it's just Wasps alive, trying to fight off that Nautilus. Wasp getting the pick off the Nautilus, and now it's just that Gal in the back. Just trying to fend it off as much as possible while waiting for the Knot to respawn. As now looks like the Zap trying to move in, but the Gal didn't allow it, as now the Gal is getting attacked by the Nautilus. We do see another Nautilus fight. There comes that baller. I don't think they're gonna be getting that baller off. No, but ooh.
That was one of the weirdest fights I have ever seen. But hey, effective trade out of all of that fun moments here, and we do see that Villy just going to pay for armor, and we see Crops in the background going to come in for the flank. Villy just needs to survive here. I think that's going to be the big key. If you can survive, you're going to get that cross pinch. And no, they suspect the flank, and Villy's like, oh no, I gotta run. And they're running into this corner, trying to get away from Leafy, chase him down. Leafy also has an Inkjet, so they can go up and get this kill if they want, but they're going to wait a little bit while. They're going to wait till the right moment. They're going to try to get Crops. They think Crops is probably the bigger threat, especially because of the range that they have on that Nautilus is huge. But this time, Villy is going to be the one that gets the kill.
As now it looks like the Gal just trying to fend off both of them now, making sure that tower stays in place. As now the Zap's just trying to hang back, charging that special up as much as possible. As well, it looks like we do see a flank from Leafy. But the flank wasn't really that successful. The Knot noticed, and Knot is going to be jumping out there, and there comes that Ink Armor. I feel like their best bet is to really either try to kill them now or wait for the Ink Armor to come off. I did hear that fall-off shot, Leafy. That was funny.
We see a disconnect, and it's right before the buzzer. So this DC will not, or this game will not count because it was right before the buzzer. Of course, 2.5 minutes is the cutoff for a disconnect, and of course the score is not met by a mile. Neither team even really gotten that far in this match. Return of who was it that left? Crops, and as I say that, they join.
as we do see
And
our return.
attempt number 2 at game 4
And
of
hopefully
Dueling
the switch doesn't.
69.
Hopefully the switch doesn't heat up because then the game goes to Phasmophobia.
Yeah, I'll say if there's another DC, it is guaranteed to go to the game goes. Well, the game doesn't go to Phasmophobia. They can play it out.
They could.
And here we go. Attempt number 2 at this. Let's see if we can get a little bit more score in the first about 2.5 minutes of that game. I would love to see some big scores early, kind of change up the pace that we saw before. We see Leafy and Crops going at it in the middle, and it looks like it's going to be neutral for now. But the big thing, though,
Oh, there. Oh, and
ooh,
Leafy
there's
stays
the
up on
victory.
top.
And hey, look, we have almost as much scoring in the first 30 seconds as we had in the first 2 minutes of the last game. Woo! I am really excited. I love more score. That's always more exciting for both the viewer and, well, okay, the players don't necessarily really like that. It makes it a lot more difficult to come back. But it's going to be a Crops versus Q 1v1. The big thing is the tower is still moving, getting that second point. Checkpoint, if they can get past it, that'd be huge here. In the first minute, getting past it is amazing. It's such a difficult checkpoint. And they don't get it all. Q could have went for it, even if they would have sacrificed themselves for it. I think that would have been the better play to secure that second checkpoint because it's so difficult to get. I think that would have been the better play, Matt.
That is true. Personally, I would have done that, but again, I haven't actually played in a 2v2 in a long time, so.
You're right. 2v2 can definitely snowball a little bit easier than 4v4. So that life, if they could have survived, could have been more useful than getting the score. But we did see eventually Q did die anyways. So nonetheless, them trying to stay alive ended up not being worth it. Armor coming out, though. We do see Inkjet ready. Leafy going to come from the top here. Going for it. Not getting anything. Crop staying alive. Q trying to get him with some fall off from the 96.
Ooh,
But if
can we see a leak take? Oh.
they're going for it. Crops trying to stay on, going down to Q eventually. Eventually, the 96's RNG goes in Q's favor, and Q is going to try to paint up here and maybe have another armor ready before Leafy can get their Inkjet ready, and they'll pop them both probably about the same time.
As now we see the tower just moving back to mid, as now it's kind of equal game, but we do see a little more paint on the side of Phasmophobia. But the suction bombs just trying their best. But there's the wipe, and the Gal is standing on top.
Yeah, Gal, the only one alive here. Already up to 5K. A lot more action in this one than we saw in the last one. Marks coming out, knowing where your opponent is huge. Crops using the high position, able to take down Leafy. Q gonna fall back. We see Crops trying to chase him a little bit, excuse me, but not able to get him quite yet, and they're gonna kind of run around this block for a little while.
As now it looks like there comes the ink armor on both sides. Leafy losing the ink armor, going down to that zap, and now it's time, but they do get the wipe on Phasmophobia. These are super close games. This has been one of the closest 2v2 tournaments I've seen in a long time. They could potentially be taking lead and leading this into a game 5. As now it looks like, oh, but they do get knocked off because of the ink armor, and now the zap has to back out. And
Billy being smart here, Billy being smart here, staying alive. We showed in the first attempt at this how strong just staying one person alive can be in a power position like on that block with the end zap. I mean, they more or less held 2v1 situation many times there for a good minute. Total. And Leafy just says, well, you ain't defending this time. We're going to go ahead and get the disrespectful double kill. And I think they're going to go ahead and start attacking this second checkpoint. Leafy having Inkjet ready. 96 having their armor ready. They're going to probably pop them both right now as they get to the checkpoint, and they do. Crops goes down. Billy just trying to stay alive. Billy goes down. They're going to go ahead and get to this third checkpoint, a minute remaining, and there's tons of points going on the board for Phasmophobia. Leafy in a power position here. Going to be waiting for Crops to come out of spawn. Going to put pressure on him as much as they can. We see that Q just trying to stay alive is dancing around the tower, getting to that third checkpoint, and getting down to just 11 remaining, Matt.
And oh my goodness, we could see Phasmophobia technically win, but Rui can take this back if possible in these last 30 seconds, but I personally don't think it's gonna happen, as now Leafy barely standing alive against that against the other Knot, as now it's that Zap alive, trying to paint up mid as much as possible. That jump's coming in. That wasn't, I feel like, a smart jump. It could get canceled, but it doesn't get canceled as the last 15 seconds are coming in. One down on the side of Phasmophobia, as now the Zap's going to be moving in, taking that tower the last 10 seconds. As now it looks like we are looking into an overtime, as now Q's waiting for them. Ink Armor's on. The pressure is on for Rui. As if they're going to be moving in. There comes that Baller. The Baller barely standing. They do get past that checkpoint. This is their last chance to bring this down. And now Wasps almost going down, but not quietly. There comes that Inkjet. Taking, actually not out, but they're going to be taking that jet back.
Yes, they pushed him off the tower with the pressure and hitting armors, and this set is over. Phasmophobia winning! Duel Ink funny number, aka Duel Ink 69. And Matt, that was an exciting one, much better than the first attempt at this one.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and that's it. That's the game.